I'm Walter S. Gerard, Sunday School Director for New Spirit Baptist Church here in Dallas, Texas, where the Reverend Otis Grimes is pastor. And our lesson for today, November the 17th, in the year of our Lord 2024, is a song of thanksgiving. A song of thanksgiving. And the reference scriptures for this lesson are taken from the 100th number of the Psalms. This is lesson 12 in our lesson series, Worship in the Covenant Community. And it's lesson 3 in unit 3 of this lesson series, Songs of Thanksgiving and Praise. Unit 3, Songs of Thanksgiving and Praise. It's kind of hard to try to make that distinction between psalms and songs. They sound so close, but Psalms of Thanksgiving and Praise. The 100th number of the Psalms is a very familiar psalm, and it's very appropriate for coming up on Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving holiday, which is the first holiday in the 2024 holiday season for Americans, which we will be celebrating Thursday after next. In addition to calling the whole earth to worship God, the psalmist suggests how to worship and why. Now, reading the scriptures from the New International Version of the Bible, the 100th number of the Psalms is as follows. A psalm for giving grateful praise. Verse 1. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. For the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, the hearing, and the understanding of his holy word. It's kind of hard to not say these verses the way it's written in the King James Version, but these lessons are written based on the New International Version of the Bible, so we'll conform to the NIV. The psalmist begins by calling for all creation to shout for joy to the Lord. There are times when worshiping God should be somber and bowed down, such as in times of trouble or times of concern for a sick or afflicted loved one. However, loud, joyful praise is pleasing to God also. All the earth includes not only humans, but everything that has breath, as we saw in the 150th number of the Psalms in last week's lesson. Not only should there be joyfulness in our worship, there should be gladness as well. We have much to be glad about because of God being in our lives. Indeed, he is why everything we need to exist is present 24/7. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat. We, however, sometimes take these things for granted. But if God just stopped making them available, every living thing would just cease to exist. We should be glad most of all for God's gift of his son Jesus, so that we all might have a right to the tree of life. The psalmist says we should come to worship God with joyful songs. Singing has always been a part of worship, of worshiping God. ever since the Song of Moses in Exodus, the 15th chapter. Songs of praise are a major part of our worship, and they should be. They are music to God's ears, figuratively speaking. In our worship, we should always be aware of who God is. God, or rather Lord, is a title for human nobility, as in Lord Nelson, one of the famous members of the England House of Lords. And fans of the movie Star Wars are familiar with Lord Vader, the Sith Lord. The Lord, though, the Lord, is none other than God. There is no other true and living God. He is who we should concentrate on when we worship. And why should we worship God? Because he made us. The King James Version adds, and not we ourselves. If we are to praise, or if we are to have any reasons to praise someone, that should be at the top of the list, because he made us. The comparison of us as sheep, Christians in the New Testament, Jews in the Old Testament, is a good comparison. A shepherd takes good care of the sheep in his pasture, as we see in the 23rd number of the Psalms. Even more so, God takes care of us, his people, literally, and the sheep of his pasture, figuratively. In verse 4, we finally get to the mention of thanksgiving in our printed text. The psalmist calls for God's people to enter God's gates with thanksgiving. He or she, no doubt, was referring to the temple gates in the Old Testament. However, when we enter the property of the church house in the New Testament, it should also be with thanksgiving. And he or she, the psalmist that is, says to enter his courts with praise. And again, the reference to the Old Testament temple is what was being referred to. This time, the temple courts. There was the outer court, which was available to the Jewish women and Gentiles. The next court was available only to the Jewish men. The next court was available only to the priests. And then the Holy of Holies at the center of the temple was only available to the high priest one time a year at the Day of Atonement. The New Testament church house is available to everybody, and it should be entered with praise also. When the world is destroyed, we Christians will enter the 12 gates of heaven with thanksgiving, and into the house of the Lord forever with praise. Kind of puts us in mind of that song, When the Saints Go Marching In. We will give thanks to God and praise his name. We do so now, but we will do it like never before at that time. Because, as in the last verse of our printed text, verse 5, he is good, his love endures forever, and his faithfulness continues to all generations. We have much to be thankful for. A song of thanksgiving. I hope you gained at least one thought from this short lesson. May God bless you, and may he ever keep you.